So there's a small horse stable about 45 minutes north of me that I like to take my daughters to learn how to ride. So I'm sitting there on the porch watching my girls hanging out with the owner and a traveling farrier. This cowboy was from Oklahoma originally, and he moved up and down the Midwest, shoeing and taking care of horses. Now the conversation turns to family, and I share that I've got kids from ages 2 to 20. Now this 55-year-old cowboy laughs because he's like, man, I got you beat. He's got a 36-year-old son down in Austin and a 1-year-old baby girl with his Wisconsin girlfriend. He shares with me some pictures, and I can't help but notice his daughter's beautiful because so is his 30-something-year-old girlfriend. Now looking at this guy covered in dirt, smelling like a barn, most people wouldn't expect him to have that much game. But later on in the conversation, he shared with me he's never had a problem with beautiful women. All he has to do is shower, put on a clean pair of jeans, his nice boots, a starched cotton button down, and throw on his hat, and he claimed anytime he walks into a bar or a party, he's got beautiful women coming up to talk to him. And you know what? I 100% believe him. Why? Because growing up in West Texas, I've seen it myself. The reality is, gents, the spirit of the American cowboy is alive and well. And a man that can wear Western wear with confidence, he's associated with the spirit of the American West. A masculine code of independence and rugged strength. So how to leverage the cowboy look even if you've never ridden a horse? Well, gentlemen, that's the subject of today's video. So let's start things off with the classic Western boot. Now the three main styles that you need to know are the classic cowboy, the roper, and the square toe work boot. Now the cowboy style Western boot is perhaps the most iconic of the three. Now when we look at a boot like this, the first thing we're going to notice is the height of the shaft. The reason for this design is to protect a man's legs whenever he's riding a horse. The toe shape on a classic cowboy boot is also going to be narrow and pointed. This helps the boot slide easily in out of the stirrup. And right with that, let's talk about the heel. You're going to have one that's moderately tall and angled. Basically, these boots were made for riding. And let's talk about the range of materials. Cowboy boots for over 100 years have come in a wide range of materials, most often a bovine leather. You're also going to see them made from goat, which is a little bit of a softer leather, very comfortable and very malleable to the foot. Ostrich, very tough and very recognizable because of the unique pattern. You're also going to see a variety of reptiles. Now, if cowboy boots are made for riding, roper boots are made for working and walking. The shaft on a pair of ropers is going to be shorter, sometimes up to 10 inches, but more often than not down to 9 or 8. As it's more of a work and walk boot, the roper also is going to have a shorter, flatter, wider heel. And because this is a boot a lot of guys are working in 14 to 16 hours a day, it's going to have a wider toe box and because of that, a rounder toe. These boots originated for a man that was spending a lot more time on his feet than in a saddle, and that's how they're still used today. Now this next style is a hybrid between the two. Sometimes called the stockman, other times the work boot. One of the more distinctive features we're going to see here is the squared off toe. Now there's lots of stories as to where this came from, but the one I like is that this working man had to be able to kick things to get them going. So we wanted a toe that could get the point across, but not too much in puncture. The heel here is going to be lower than the cowboy, a little bit more though than a roper, and the shaft is going to be relatively high, about the same as a cowboy boot at about 12 inches. Basically an all-around versatile boot that can work in the saddle or work on the ground. Now gents, every boot I just showed you right there, I think any man can incorporate into his wardrobe. The key is finding a style that suits your needs and that you feel comfortable wearing. And straight up, gents, when it comes to comfort, if you find a pair of Western boots that fit you well, you are never going to find a more comfortable boot out there. And speaking of comfortable boots, guys, if you're in the market for a pair, go check out today's sponsor, Tecovas. Now, gents, when you're holding a pair of Tecovas, what you notice is the quality build and the timeless Western style. Gents, all their boots are made by hand with over 200 individual steps. And having worn this pair right here now for a couple months, what I can tell you is I love the fact on the first wear, these things were comfortable and they just got better and better with every single wear. And gents, as we talked about quality boots, they should come in a variety of different materials. Of course, they've got boots in bovine leather, both cowhide and calfskin, but they've also got ostrich, alligator, crocodile, lizard, suede, and of course, goat. And if you want a fun color, if you want an interesting design, you want a boot that's going to make a statement, they've got you covered. They're over at Tecovas with all their different styles, all their different looks. And if you get a chance, gents, go into one of their stores. They're all over the United States. Me personally, I've been to their Austin, I've been to their Dallas, and just recently I was over in their Atlanta store. And I have to say it was a really nice laid back experience. They've got complimentary drinks, free boot shines, and if you're at all worried about getting the perfect fit, that's what you want to go into the store for. Actually try them on. And if you're on the fence about wearing Western boots because the shaft is too high, you're not sure how it's going to look under a pair of your jeans, then you want to check out their Deans. This is a zip boot with a relatively modest shaft that's going to give you a classic boot silhouette look without you having to modify anything in your wardrobe because you can wear this with any type of jeans. Again, gents, if you're looking for any style of Western boots or Western wear, they've got a wide selection. Go over and check out Tecovas. And as always, gents, I got the best deal on the web for you. Use that link. Go over to Tecovas. check them out. If you're looking to level up your wardrobe with some Western wear, check out what Tecovas has to offer. Now, the next style tip to steal from a cowboy to look good, guys, add Western jeans to your rotation. Now, there are 3 key features with typical Western jeans. First up, they're going to have a little bit of a flare, a boot cut at the bottom of the jean. And we're not talking bell bottoms here. In fact, the amount is relatively small, anywhere from 3/4 to, in some cases, 1.5 inches of extra room. But this extra material is key if you're going to be wearing boots with these jeans, as you want the material to slide over easily and not make the wearing of the boots uncomfortable. The second key characteristic of a good pair of Western jeans, they fit the man well in the crotch, butt, and leg and thigh area. Now, I remember growing up and seeing women wear these shirts. Now, I haven't seen the data of how many women believe this, but I do think if you've got a decent build and you're in a pair of jeans like this, and you wear them with confidence, yeah, you may turn a few heads. But in case you're wondering, the real reason for a snug fit is that well-fitted jeans on an able-bodied man actually give him more room to move. As anyone can tell you who works around machinery or animals, loose clothing can get you killed. So it makes sense a lot of Western wear, especially jeans, fit close to the body. Oh, and by the way, almost all Western denim is going to be dark in color and made to be durable and washed repeatedly. Next up, we've got the snap button cotton shirt. So snap buttons in their modern form have been around for over 150 years. The original idea of the snap button was to make it easy to fasten clothing when you were wearing work gloves. And although they're a little bit more expensive than buttons, they're a heck of a lot more durable, and it makes sense that the Western world would pick up on it. Now, starting in the 1940s, there was a shirt maker named Jack Well. He started putting snap buttons on all of his Western wear clothing. It was picked up by Hollywood and all of a sudden became the fashion. Now, a couple other details I want to talk about with Western wear shirts is we're often going to see the double flap pocket. A vestige of military wear, it does make the shirt more casual, but they are functional, and from a style perspective, they actually build up the chest a bit. And right with that, let's talk about the shoulder yokes. Have you ever noticed on a lot of Western wear shirts that we see the construction of the shirt is a little bit different? Now, depending on the shirt maker, the Western yoke can actually be set in, or it can be sewn on top of a set in sleeve and regular yoke. And the purpose here originally was to provide reinforcement. I mean, if you're going to be throwing a calf on your shoulder day in, day out, you want a shirt that's going to be durable, that's going to be tough, that isn't going to need to get restitched every other day. Now, if sewn in, and historically, if you know clothing, most of it was actually made by hand for individuals. So custom tailored workwear isn't as fancy as it sounds nowadays, but basically, you could get a work shirt with a higher armhole, which actually gives you a lot more freedom of movement. You'll also see this shoulder yoke design on a number of other garments, outerwear, vests. And when you've got a contrasting color to it, or if the yoke is actually made of leather or a rougher material, it definitely gives a feeling of casual workwear and that Western vibe to it. Which, by the way, a puffer jacket, or especially a puffer vest made from a rougher canvas-like material, yeah, either one of these would be a great Western addition to your wardrobe. Now, speaking of jackets, let's look at the iconic trucker jacket. Durable, functional, lightweight, these are great jackets that you can throw in the back seat, but because they're made from denim or a canvas material that's basically resistant to abrasion, these type of jackets are perfect for adding a little bit of warmth, but a lot of protection. Another key characteristic that makes a jacket popular is how high it sits on the waist. Because it fits close to the body and doesn't restrict the torso turning left or right, this jacket's an excellent choice for a man getting in and out of a vehicle who needs to work. And if you like this style but you want better protection from the rain, the elements, the wind, then go for a waxed canvas version. Yeah, you're going to have to re-wax it every season, but this is going to do a good job of keeping moisture at bay. Now, what if you want something a little bit softer? You want something with a little bit more insulation, then look to a southwestern style sweater. So about 150 years ago, when transportation was more expensive and we had mills on both sides of the coast, there were a number of woolen mills on the west coast that produced unique type of fabrics. One of them was a company called Pendleton, and they produced a number of patterns that became iconic for the families and men working the frontier. The key with these fabrics is they used a lot of earthen colors. They had very unique southwest, northwest patterns to them. And above all, they were functional. They were warm. They were durable. Now, if you got a pair of jeans, you got to have a Western belt, right? Well, if you know your history, you know that cowboys actually used to wear suspenders. But that being said, from the vaqueros out of Mexico, there is a history of leatherwork belts and flashy metal combinations. But the Western belt, as we know, it didn't really emerge for about 100 years. And although a lot of us would like to think it evolved from the gun belt, the classic Western belt probably evolved more likely from the dress belt. However, unlike its skinny, thin cousin, the classic Western belt is going to be thicker, heavier, and is made to hold a larger buckle. Which takes us to the next item you may want to bring into your wardrobe, an intricate metal buckle. Now, really quick, I want to be clear, if you have not earned a fancy Western buckle, which many men and women do participating in rodeos, barrel riding competitions, roping competitions, if you didn't earn it, don't wear it. But when it comes to intricate metals, especially in a classic buckle shape, there's nothing wrong with pulling this off. Now, the next item on this list takes a little bit more courage to wear. That being said, it's the official neckwear of the states of Arizona, New Mexico, and most recently, Texas. And what I find really interesting about this neck piece is how it's been going in and out of style for almost 200 years. In fact, on different continents as well, with the Teddy Boys over in the UK wearing these in the 1950s. But if you know the Bolo's history, you know it's 100% Americana. Now, is this as formal as a necktie or even a bow tie? Well, technically, in the right setting, the answer is yes. But because in general, the clothing you'd be wearing with it is going to be more casual, it's really hard to pull it off in a formal setting. But it can be done, especially when it is your style and you own the look with confidence. Now, as we're talking about jewelry and shiny things, let's talk about silver and turquoise accessories. With this metal combination, you're going to see rings, you're going to see necklaces, you're going to see bracelets. I know there are those out there that hate the look. I actually had an uncle that pulled this off really well. It was just who he was. He always wore this jewelry and it was part of his style. So yeah, if it tickles your fancy, if you like it, if you can wear it confidently, go for it. Now, you've probably been waiting for it, but this is the one piece, the one accessory that I think you really have to own it. You've really got to wear this piece with confidence to be able to pull it off. Gents, I'm talking the iconic cowboy hat, the cattleman. Now, for me personally, I don't wear one. Despite growing up on a ranch, raising horses, knowing how to ride, it just wasn't my style. But if I were to start with one, I would definitely go with a straw cattleman. It's functional, it's lightweight, and I feel the overall light color is easy to match with any outfit. Agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about boots, gentlemen, I got you covered with this video right here. I go deep in on Western boots, so go check it out. I think you will enjoy it. Oh yeah, right there. Boom. Yeah, go check it out.